Mr. Nee, let us quickly look at this inroad the Fulani is making into the southwest. The other time, it was the idea to bring Sharia law to Oyo State. Currently, we understand that Sharia court already started sitting in Ekiti State.
Okay.
Okay, now, what does this mean for the people of the southwest,
I think
the Yorubas?
this is a call to action, and we must, as Southerners, as Yoruba, who has always been known to be liberals, who has always been known as the most tolerant religiously people, that we have to fight this Islam extremism. It has come to my attention that there are some elements calling themselves Islamic sheikhs in Iwo and Osun State who are now openly preaching that the Muslims youths who are Yoruba should carry cutlass and gun and go after every traditionalist. Was it not just yesterday where we saw that a woman had her skull broken by some elements calling themselves Fulanis in living in Southwest? They stoned this woman, about 12 stones on her head, and her head was shattered.
That is serious.
Because she was out there carrying out her usual rituals. She was celebrating Obatasa. Now, a Yoruba land will forever remain a secular land. The Fulani's agenda to infiltrate the kingship, the rulership of Ilorin in the 1800s succeeded, but it will not extend beyond Ilorin. Because today, let me tell you, those people that wanted to bring Sharia panel into Oyo State have been taken to the court and they have been sentenced to be prosecuted. Because Sheyi Makinde said he will not allow religious extremism. The likes of Dapo Abiodun, the likes of the Lagos State Governor Sanwo-Olu, all of them have all kicked against religious extremism. Are you aware that Fakpon Ida, a Yoruba activist and human rights and advocate, was on Arise News? He said, Tinubu, if you fail to split Nigeria now, that the Fulanis will come immediately and exterminate all those Yorubas that you have appointed. Because they believe that Nigeria is their forefathers' estate. Is it not written and documented that Uthman Dafodio said that Nigeria was given to him by Allah? These same words were the means, and what they used, the ideology, was what they used to defeat Ilorin when they conquered Afonja. So bringing this back into the 21st century, it is unbelievable, and I cannot even imagine it, that in Ekiti State, they said that some people who are Muslim, because they had marital dispute, now took it into a Sharia panel for adjudication. What happened to our customary laws? This is not. By all means, I bound and cast Sharia in Southwest because it is not progressive, it is only retrogressive. And it is retrogressive because we can see the antecedents the Northerners have been able to achieve with Sharia law, wherein the rich are exempted, but the poor will always have their hand cut short.
Okay, Mr. Nee, let us juxtapose this with the current emerging threat of bandits being dislodged from the northwest, hibernating in southwestern forest. Is it a coincidence that at the same time there's attempt to bring Sharia law, Sharia code into the southwest? We are seeing infiltration or invasion of what looks like Fulani invaders in the southwest. Is it a coincidence or is a coordinated effort?
I think this is an incident that is being intentionally supported by the Yoruba politicians who are trading their people and land for political gains. The reason why some people will say that the Yorubas and the Fulanis have good relationship is simply because some Yoruba politicians and elders are taking and adopting all the ideologies of the Fulanis, which is accepting Islam, accepting some marauders, some cattle herders, which ordinarily should be sent back to others Sahel region. They will give them a land. Let me tell you, in my hometown, in Shaki, there's a place, a town before Shaki. In that place, the people who live there, who reside there, are 95% Fulanis. In fact, the buyer of that place is a Fulani man. Though he speaks Yoruba, but he's a Fulani man. What does that tell you? Why should you allow a foreigner be the ballet of not his land, becomes a chief, all in a bid that you are tolerative, all in a bid for what? So that when you want to campaign and go into election, you can always say that the Fulani, can't you see that we allow you people to excel? This is why the Igbos have always been said that the Igbos are not political savvy. No, the Igbos are simply conserving the sanctity of their land. This is why they are so against this ideology of Islam extremism. So my take is, these Fulanis now have had so much inroads and they've enjoyed this leeway, whereby they're even issuing was that your forest is an irreversible inheritance of the Fulanis. A Fulani that came from Senegambia, a Fulani that came from Chad, from Niger, from Mali, telling we that Oyo forest that belongs to the Oyo warriors, Yorubas, that forest is an irreversible inheritance. From where to where? How is that possible? If not because the saboteurs that we call the political leaders, for their own political exigencies, have sold out their people for this nonsense.
Okay, Ms. Sani, let us take it to this angle. Because currently there is a trending video that's gone viral from someone, a lady from the north, who have chronicled how the Fulani have taken over all political space, all leadership space, whether traditional wise, political wise, from almost every part of the north. Specifically, the lady mentioned Katsina, that since her birth, all the governors she have known is Fulani. And surprisingly, the place is predominantly Yoruba. Sorry, it's predominantly Hausa. And a similar thing is happening in Kano. Are we seeing a similar threat in the southwest?
Well, what you must understand is the Fulanis have only one ideology, and it is conquest. Descend on them, depose their leaders, install the Fulani ideology, marry their wives, enslave their children. These were the same ideology they used when they got to the north. They came into the Sokoto zone axis. They toppled the king there. And since that is their entry point, they decided to make that base their most principal base. And this is why you see that the Sultan of Sokoto, the person that controls the Islamic tenets and direction, is the Sultan of Sokoto. Whether you are a Igbo Muslim, whether you are a Yoruba Muslim, you will pay homage to that Fulani man there in the caliphate. So they started that. Then secondly, they went into Kano State, took their time. They were into farming, understanding the policies and security infrastructure of Kano State. When they studied that they were weak, they called their brothers in. They called that place Bao. That place is situated in Burkina Faso. That is like the horizon, like the place inception of Fulani. Now, that was where Itman Dafodo used to be. Now, they went into Sultan of Sokoto. They had a what? An annex. And then from there, they extended into Kano. Having seen that they are weak, they invaded Kano State, and then they dealt with the leaders. Because in those days, Kano was the commercial city of the Northerners. Kano was the most advanced state in the north in those days. Kano was where you have the likes of Dangote, you have the Tata families. These were traders, merchants who were billionaires even as are dead. So when he saw this, they drove away the family of that Tata. He ran. I think he went into I think he went to Mali or thereabout, if I'm not mistaken. It was when the British colonial master came back that they now had to call that man. It was that man that had Ghana Pyramid. When he came back, go and check. When Uthman Dafodio came, when he invaded Kano State, that Tata family, who are relations to Dangote. Dangotes are not Fulanis originally. But when Uthman Dafodio conquered them, his grandfather ran away. He ran away for over 30 years. Then when the colonial masters came, when they were looking for those, then they heard the story of Tata that he was a very a savvy person. They had to beg him to come back, that they would give him protection. When he came back, he bought farms. He became one of the biggest aggregator in the north. Then he was financing farmers, giving them loans to go and build to go and farm groundnut, and he was buying it from them. Then he became the biggest aggregator, the biggest collector of groundnut. That was how they amassed their wealth. But when Uthman Danfodio came, they saw that these were the people that serve as threat. They killed some part of them, some left. So you can see how these Fulani people are. When they see that you are influential, that is why they are after. Yes, that is why they are after Oyo State, because they know that Oyo is the capital, the political capital of the Yoruba land. They took Ilorin. You can see it didn't have much impact on the Yoruba. But if they eventually take Oyo State, I can categorically tell you that Lagos State will fall. Yes.
Okay, now, Mr. Ni, I understand you know very much about Oyo State because you are from there, and you have seen that it is like epicenter of southwestern part of the country, and the way it stands is like a target of the Fulani. If you were to be the governor of that state, or if you are not, and you were to advise Seyi Makinde, who is the governor, in this regard, what would be your advice?
Okay, my advice has to be first and foremost, all the Fulanis who have invaded and maybe think they have taken the forest, all have to be flushed out. We have to start from there. But before I flush them out, I will send out a communique. All the Oyo State forest belongs to the Southwesterners. If you need a land, come to the Ministry of Agric, Oyo State, and lease. If you are not, we'll call you as an usurper, and then you'll be dealt with in the language that you understand. Then I'll have a collaboration with the Nigerian Army, and then also I will empower the Amotekuns. Because these guys are known not only to be bandits, they are also known to be land grabbers. This is what they have successfully done in Middle Belt. This is what they successfully did. This is what they successfully did in Jos. This is how they were able to steal all the baggy land in southern Kaduna. Those same Fulanis, before the Fulani came on board, there was nothing like southern Kaduna and northern Kaduna. The southern Kaduna were known as the TV and the baggy people who were predominantly traditionalists and Christians. So if I ever have a chance to become the governor or an advisor to the state government, I will go after them. But before I do, I'll give them that last warning.
Okay, Mr. Ali, lastly on this, we understand that there's Amateku in place, and they came about through act of House of Assemblies in southwestern part of the country. But under Muhammadu Buhari, they could not be armed because for you to buy AK-47, AK-49, you need an end user certificate that normally comes from the Office of the National Security Advisor. And then, during the time of Muhammadu Buhari, that certificate could not be given to Amateku. Now, if you are to advise the government, we understand that Senator Ahmed Bola Tinubu is the president currently. Do you advise him to act differently to give Amateku the capacity to be armed?
Well, this is a question that doesn't require any logical reasoning. The vigilantes in Zamfara and Sokoto today are wielding AK-49, AK-47. I mean, we see everything openly on the national medias. We see it on TVs. So there is no reason why Amatekun should not be wielding AK-47. But again, I understand that in southern west, the southwestern governors have, most of them are puppets. Most of them are puppets. Okay? Tinubu, as he is, we know he is trying to put the Fulanis, cut them into size, reduce their excesses. But the Yoruba governors must be seen supporting him. They must also be seen demanding what is right. Because Amotekun without an AK-47 can never be potent against these bandits. They only become potent and effective when they wield an AK-47, the same weapon those bandits wield. And the question is, where are the bandits getting it? The same Fulanis are the one giving them. Thank you for having me.
Thank you very much, Mr. Ni. I think this is a good place to let it go. I'm Mr. Macho and this is Salami.
Thank you very much.